Welcome to the 22nd lecture in the course of Industrial Engineering and Operations Research. Today we are telling some finance or money related topic, and this is about break-even analysis. In fact, commerce students and management students, finance people also take very much interest in this topic, that break-even essentially means that if I am doing some production, how many units I should produce minimum so that I should not get any loss. If I don't get any profit, that's okay. So this is called break-even type of thing. We will discuss this one. So there are in industry, when you make a product, you encounter two type of costs. We get a fixed cost like building rent and salaries, etc. Manager, workers, they will take the salary, their monthly salary, and variable costs will be, say, material cost. That means if you produce more units, then you will have to pay more cost. But in the fixed cost, it is not dependent, because suppose I have hired a building, now building's rent will remain same whether I make 5 units or I make 10 units. But the variable cost will change. If I make 5 units, I will have to spend less amount. If I take 10, then I have to pay more. So this is one example of a factory. There you see the factory building is fixed. Machines, etc., that you know, machines depreciation value, etc., that is fixed only, and computer, worker, all those type of things, but material cost becomes variable. So let us discuss that very interesting topics about the contribution. These are some finance related terminologies. What is contribution? Contribution is sales in rupees minus variable cost. So that is called contribution. So in the contribution, if you remove the fixed cost, this will give profit. So loss is equal to basically negative of profit. I can say that there is a profit of minus 10,000. That means you should consider that there is a 10,000 loss. And profit is equal to sales minus variable cost minus fixed cost also, because profit is basically sales minus variable cost. So we can say contribution minus fixed cost is equal to profit. Basically that same thing is coming. We already said that contribution is sales minus variable cost. So you got this one. Now, so I give some example that why this type of thing is happening, why you have to produce, give some minimum production, why marketing persons have to put effort to get more orders. Suppose fixed cost of making something is rupees 1,000. Okay, suppose some worker is making that thing, and you hire the worker and you have to pay worker 1,000 rupees in a day, and that he will come in the morning, in the evening he will go with rupees 1,000. So that cost is fixed. But he is making variable cost per unit is rupees 100. If he makes 1 unit in material cost, etc., you have to pay 100 rupee. So cost of making 1 unit in a day, for you it is rupees 1,100. But if the same worker can make 2 unit, then you have 1,000 plus rupees 100 into 2, that means rupees 1,200. So per unit cost will be then 1,200 by 2 is equal to rupees 600. So you know it drastically got reduced. Earlier 1 unit was costing 1,100 and now it is costing 600. Now at what price I should sell this? This will be decided by market. If in the market it is available in 300 rupees, then you cannot sell it in 600 rupees just to, so that you don't get any loss. So suppose selling price is rupees 200, if only 1 unit is made, then contribution is equal to sales minus variable cost. That means 200 minus 100 is equal to 100. That will be contribution. And profit will be contribution minus fixed cost. That means 100 minus 1,000 is equal to minus rupees 900. So thus we make a loss of rupees 900 by making only 1 unit. And if 2 units are made, then contribution will be sales minus variable cost. So sales will be now 1 unit cost is priced as 200. So 200 into 2 and minus 100 into 2. So because variable cost is 100 rupee. So variable cost total is this one. So you get total contribution 200. So loss is equal to fixed cost minus contribution. So that means 1000 minus 200 is equal to rupees 800. And loss per unit has come, 800 by 2 is equal to rupees 400. So you see the loss has reduced because I produced more quantity. So at break-even point, contribution will be equal to fixed cost because profit is equal to fixed cost minus contribution. So this is rather profit is equal to contribution minus fixed cost. So profit is equal to contribution minus fixed cost. That is why at break-even point, contribution will be equal to fixed cost. That means no profit. So there is no profit and no loss. Business will make loss if amount of contribution is lower than the amount of fixed cost. Business will make profit if amount of contribution is greater than the amount of fixed cost. So contribution less than fixed cost means you are having loss. Contribution is more than the fixed cost, you are making profit. And if contribution is equal to fixed cost, then you are having break even. So break even point can be defined as fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. Then you can find out break even point in terms of the number of units. So let us give that an example. I can take example from anything, that need not any factory or something. Let us take the example of a school, private school. The rent of a school building is rupees 30,000 per month, which is a fixed cost, and expense on teacher salary is rupees 70,000 per month. This is also fixed cost. On each student rupees 500 per month is spent on midday meal, let us say, or giving some snacks, etc. Suppose, then you have 500 as variable cost. More the student, more you have to spend money on midday meal. And school fee for a student is rupees 1000. So you can say it is like a selling price. That means you sell your product, means your service of teaching, in 1000 rupees per month. So how many students should be admitted to reach break-even point? So solution is total fixed cost is equal to rupees 30,000 plus rupees 70,000. That means it becomes rupees 1 lakh. And contribution per unit is equal to sales fee, sales basically, that is basically fee per unit minus variable cost. So 1000 minus 500 is equal to rupees 500. So contribution per unit you got 500. Fixed cost is basically given as 1 lakh, okay, and you have contribution per unit is 500. So you divide it by that and you get basically, this is 1 lakh, this is this one. So you divide it 200. So therefore if you divide 1 lakh by 500, you get a 200 students there. So minimum 200 students you have to keep in your school. Now profit calculation. So as I said that profit is equal to, can be also said, total sales minus fixed cost minus total variable cost. So total fee collection minus fixed cost minus total expense on midday meal. So total fee in 200 students, total fee was collected 1000 into 200 because 1000 rupee fee, 200 students, minus 1 lakh minus 500 into 200. So you see that it becomes 2 lakh and this becomes 1 lakh minus 1 lakh is equal to 0. Thus we see that at break even point the profit is 0. Contribution is called by this name because it is the contribution of each unit sold towards the organization's bottom line, that is profit. We in a balance sheet or in the company's financial statement, lastly we show profit, that is why it is called bottom line. So when we say organization's bottom line, that means you consider that it is profit. If an organization is making losses, then with every increase in quantity sold will reduce loss to the extent of contribution. Okay. So another example, suppose sales per unit is rupees 300, variable cost is rupees 100 per unit, fixed cost is rupees 10,000. Suppose 100 units are sold, we can divide fixed cost into 100 units. Hence fixed cost per unit will be how much? 10,000 by 100 means rupees 100. and profit per unit will be how much? 300 minus 100 minus 100, that means rupees 100, because this is the fixed cost and this is variable cost. Suppose one additional unit is sold at rupees 100 instead of 300, it may appear that there will be loss. It may appear to you that because I was selling at 300 and then I was making, but you see, because what will be 100 plus 100 minus 100, and you may think that it may be that here there will be loss. So, what you may think that here 100 minus 100 minus 100, that means this is rupees 100 negative, because you may say that okay, fixed cost was rupees 100 and 100 was the variable cost. So, 200 was the cost and I sold it at 100, but this calculation is not correct. So, let us calculate it correctly. When 100 units are sold at rupees 300 per unit, then your total sales was this much and fixed cost is this much, 10,000, variable cost is 100 into 100 is equal to 10,000. So, total profit was basically 30,000 minus 10,000 minus 10,000, that means total profit was rupees 10,000. Earlier also I said profit per unit was 100, so you are making 100 units, so 100 into 100 is equal to 10,000. When additional unit is sold at rupees 100, suppose that unit only, not the whole lot, due to some reason, maybe he is your friend's relative or whatever is that, then total sales comes out to be 300 into 100 plus 100 extra. So, that means you got 30,100 rupees and fixed cost is 10,000, variable cost is 100 into 101. So, variable cost will remain unchanged, this is 101. So, total profit is this 30,100 minus 10,000 minus 10,100, that means rupees 10,000. So, your profit has not reduced actually. So, contribution of additional unit, if you calculate, that was sales minus variable cost. So, sales was 100 and you sold it, variable cost is also 100, you sold in 100 and 100. So, therefore, contribution is 0. Hence, it neither increases nor decreases the overall profit. So, contribution can you give some guidance type of thing, that unless your contribution is negative by selling some unit, you are not at loss. So, importance of contribution, if contribution is positive, the sale would be profitable whatever. If organization is making profit, then for additional sales the profit will increase to the extent of contribution, and if it is suffering losses also, then losses will reduce to the extent of contribution. So, break even point is actually, again I am writing this formula, fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. Now, we have got one term that is called profit volume ratio. So, profit volume ratio is what? It is defined as contribution divided by sales. Okay. I got through contribution, I got 1 lakh rupee and my sales was suppose of 2 lakh, then my PV ratio will become 0.5 like that. So, contribution can be written as sales into PV ratio, just you multiply in the same you can do. An example, selling price of 1 unit is equal to rupees 300 and variable cost of 1 unit is rupees 150, then contribution per unit is selling price minus variable cost is equal, this becomes 300 minus 150 is equal to rupees 150. So, PV ratio is contribution by sales, per unit wise you can calculate, this is 150 by 300, that becomes 0.5 or 50%. Suppose 100 units are sold, then total sales value is equal to 300 into 100, that is rupees 30,000, and contribution will be rupees 30,000 into that PV ratio for that product. So, this will be 30,000 into 0.5, that means 15,000. Okay. So, you can use it offhand, this type of thing, and let fixed cost be rupees 10,000, then profit is equal to contribution minus fixed cost, that means 15,000 minus 10,000 is equal to rupees 500. So, let me just summarize that basic equations, important equations used here, that profit is equal to sales into PV ratio minus fixed cost. because sales into PV ratio will give you contribution. This will give you contribution. So, as we said that contribution minus fixed cost is equal to profit. So, this is so profit is equal to sales into PV ratio minus fixed cost. Contribution is equal to fixed cost plus profit. This becomes sales is equal to, so therefore contribution is equal to fixed cost plus profit. I have already told that fixed cost we can say is equal to contribution minus profit. Various ways you can write the same equation, contribution minus profit. So, sales is equal to contribution by PV ratio, that also is formula. So, sales is equal to desired profit plus fixed cost, and this is PV ratio, because contribution is, you can say, desired profit plus fixed cost, and this is how that you can make that. An example, the selling price per component is rupees 50, the variable cost per component is rupees 10, fixed cost per day is rupees 10,000. Find out the break even point for a day. Suppose you want to say per day how much I have to sell. Selling price per component is rupees 50. So, break even point is equal to fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. So, contribution break even point, this is the formula, again and again we are using. Break even point is fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. So, contribution per unit is equal to selling price per unit minus variable cost per component. So, selling price is 50, this is 10. So, this becomes rupees 40. Therefore, break even point becomes 10,000 divided by 40, that becomes 250 components per day. So, if we make 250 components per day, then we will not experience loss. So, profit by selling 300 components, like break even point came 250. So, if I sell more amount, then naturally I will get more this one. So, total sales is equal to 50 into 300, and this becomes rupees 15,000, and contribution is equal to 15,000 minus 10 into 300, because variable cost per unit is 300. So, total variable cost is 300 into 10. So, 15,000 minus 3,000, that means 12,000 is the contribution. So, now profit is equal to contribution minus fixed cost. So, contribution is equal to 12,000, fixed cost is 10,000. So, you get actually 2,000 per day profit. And profit by selling 600 components. So, suppose I got by selling 300 components, I got a profit of 2,000. So, if I sell 600 component, maybe I will get 4,000 per day. That is, let us see. So, total sales now will be 50 into 600, because each is costing only 50 rupee, 50 price. So, 50 into 600 rupees, 30,000 will be total sale, contribution will be 30,000 minus 10 into 600, each is variable cost is 10 into 600 units are there. So, total contribution 2,400. Now, the profit has become contribution minus fixed cost. So, this has become 24,000 minus 10,000, that becomes 14,000 per day. So, see, I expected that I sold 300 component, I got a profit of 2,000 per day. So, I thought that if I sell 600, I will get 4,000 per day, but nay, I am getting 14,000 per day. Thus, doubling the production does not double profit, but increases it by 7 times. This is called leverage effect. So, basically, suppose desired profit is rupees 15,000 per day, then profit is equal to rupees 15,000, fixed cost is 10,000 only, let us say. Contribution is equal to profit plus fixed cost, that means 15,000 plus 10,000 is equal to rupees this much. And what was the PV ratio? Contribution by sales. So, in this case, contribution was per unit was 40, and sales per unit, sale price is 50. So, this is 0.8. So, sales will be basically contribution divided by PV ratio, that means 25,000 by 0.8, that means 31,250 units I should produce. Okay. So, that way we can decide that how we can go ahead. So if I produce 31,250 units, then I will get a profit of rupees 15,000 per day. So by these methods, you can do some calculations on the break-even analysis. We will discuss more about break-even point in my subsequent lecture. Okay. So maybe that much only for today, and we are concluding this topic now. Okay. Thank you.